Erin Simon is Vice President and Head of Plastic Waste and Business at the Worldwide Fund for Nature. She joins us now from Geneva. Hello, Erin. There's a clear sense of urgency that we've just heard. The sticking point last year, as I understand, was oil-producing countries who want a voluntary rather than a legally binding agreement on production and cleanup of plastic. How are you planning to win them over this time?
Yeah, I think the challenge in these negotiations is that they were set up to come to complete consensus, right? To come up with an agreement on how the world would move forward against a shared threat. And the challenge there is that there's a lot of different agendas that each of these countries have and they're trying to protect. And so what we're hoping to see, and what we've seen a lot more of between Busan, so INC5, and here in Geneva, is that member states, those countries have come together to really start trying to do a lot of the work in between those two sessions, so that we had a chance, we have a hope of getting over some of those major differences this week and next here in Geneva.
How much of it is about money, about agreeing who will pay for cleaning up waste if this treaty is agreed?
I think in general, what we're talking about is not just cleaning up waste, but rebuilding our supply chains that produce and use and recover these plastics. And that transition from a linear, so that sort of take, make, waste economy, to a circular one where we get those materials back and use them again, costs a lot of money. And so I think especially those low and medium economies are looking for a lot of help, because they're those places, those communities where the waste is really showing up on their shorelines, and they are the most disproportionately impacted. So it's going to be really important that we figure out how to finance it, but we also have to figure out how to make that system work. And those are some of the other key elements that are going to be really important that they come to agreement on this week.
We have seen a number of countries banning plastic straws, single-use plastic shopping bags, microbeads in cosmetics and other initiatives. Are we at least starting to slow the rate of plastic pollution?
We have not gotten to that yet. We are still accelerating. That's why these governments came together a few years ago in 2022 and said, this cannot be handled by individual country legislation, individual company actions, individual actions. We need to work together as a global community to solve this. And so to begin, they need to figure out what are those products we're all going to stop making, because they are either problematic because they end up in nature and cause harm to local communities or to species, or because they're not easy to recycle, like straws and single-use plastic bags.
You've spoken about the need for completely redesigning supply chain mechanisms, that we need to look at how these plastics are produced and put targets on things like that. Where's the leverage going to come from? I mean, clearly, no one's going to disagree that there's a plastic pollution problem, but how can you compel a country that's not that keen to be legally bound by this agreement?
I think there's a lot of economic opportunity in building new supply chains with a lot of opportunities for innovation, right? Today, we are taking a material from the earth, so 90% of plastic comes from oil and gas, and we are only using about 5% of its value because we just take it and then we throw it away after just a moment of use. Imagine if we could recoup that value and use it again and again. There's just a huge opportunity that's on the table, and so our hope is that if we can help these countries to realize the economic opportunity along with the one to reduce plastic pollution as being the bridge that we can build to find agreement on how to move forward to get there.
Well, Erin Simon, good luck for the next few days. I know the deadline is the 14th of August. Erin is the Vice President, Head of Plastic Waste and Business at the Worldwide Fund.